Hello everybody, my name is Coglime3639, aka Santiago Dinsmore, and I am here at the OTS Championship in Albuquerque, and I just got third place, and I did it with Dracotail Canine, one of the newer decks that came out. It's the second day of it being legal, and it's a very insane deck. I'm actually really happy. I really do want to talk about this deck. It might be a little bit of a longer video because I am really wanting to talk about these cards. But yeah, I got third place. I only lost to the first place player who was on Yummy, and who is currently recording it right now. He's a fucking bitch. Threw an insane hand, fucking. But a couple shout outs before getting into it. Number one is to the man behind the camera, Jefferson Delaney and Christopher Brandenberry, for being really good testing mates. Shout out to the 505, everyone in New Mexico that showed up to the tournament. And then a shout out to the sponsor, Cardboard Collectors, as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile, shall we? So I'm going to start off with the main deck stuff. I'm going to start off with the Dracotail stuff. So we are playing three of all the good names. So three Lucas, three Femina, three Molu. I'm assuming I'm probably mispronouncing that. And then one of the ones you don't want to draw, one Urgula and one Pan. So this is your monster lineup for this. So you want to draw these because these can get to fusion summoning. So this can search any of these guys. Which can fusion summon, which is good. Femina is the really good one that lets you fusion summon not only on your turn, but during your opponent's turn, which is really nice. Same thing with Molu, but Molu has to be on field while Femina just has to be in hand. They're all really good, and then Molu also has that interruption in graveyard when it's sent to the fusion to negate a face-up monster. It's probably the worst one compared to the dragons, but still very good. But you want to draw these because these help you do the combos. And then just playing these at one because you still want them as interruption piece. This can pop a spell trap. This can pop a monster when they're used as fusion material, which is pretty nice. But you don't necessarily want to draw them because they don't help you try to fusion summon or anything. So there's plenty of ways to search them in the deck and send them to the graveyard. So they're not that much of a problem to play at 2 or 3. So playing 1 is perfectly fine. And their graveyard effects are really insane as well, helping you recur spellcasters and then special summoning once a fusion gets destroyed, which is pretty good. So yeah, I think this is the lineup. You just play 3 of the good names and 1 of the ones that don't help you fusion summon, basically. Now on to the spell traps of Dracotail. We're on 3 of the spells, 3 Rahu, 3 Q2, and then 1 of each trap, 1 flame, 1 pan. This is pretty standard. You want to play these because not only do they help you fusion summon, but they also help you board break. These are the really good thing about Dracotail is not only is it like a good fusion combo, but all their spell traps are board breakers, which is really, really good. So this is the best one by far. It searches for one of the interruption piece, so you can search for one of the interruptions, then fusion summon going second, which a lot of the times just by itself can break the field. Rahu's a little bit worse, but it's still a branded fusion, which is saying something which is a little bit worse, but it's a branded fusion. Still, you want to play these, you want to see them in hand, even though you can set them from the deck, you still want to see them in hand just because they do help you a lot. So I play them at 3, and then 1 of each trap. You only need to play 1. This negates the spell. This bounces back an attack position monster, which is good. The only problem with them is, yes, they do draw a card, which helps for hand advantage, but the fact that they have that a part of the effect makes it where it's a lot more interruptible, being able to get ashed, Ghost Bell, Purge, it comes up to mind. So that's kind of the unfortunate part about them, but they're still, mandatory because they can be set from the deck. So that is it when it comes to the Dracotail stuff. Now on to the Canine stuff. So I was playing 3 Azuna, 3 Jokel, 1 Lantern, 1 Lupus, and then 1 of each spell, 1 Case of the Canine, and 1 Forced Release. So, to be honest with you, now that I have played a full 2 days worth of tournaments of this deck, I don't think Canine should be a part of Dracotail, just because of how they play. They don't really mix well together. If anything, if you want to play Canine, you probably just play 3 Azuna, 1 Lupus as just a hand trap engine, and that's it. But it still worked out because you still have Femina as a 5. So if you ever just drew Jokel plus Dracotail, you still got the full K9 combo, which is pretty nice. But it didn't really come up as much as you think it would. I don't think it's necessarily the greatest, but still really good. Obviously, Azuna is the hand trap with the Lupus. Jokel plus Lantern is the K9 starters or combo extenders. Then I'm on 1 of each spell. This is just because this helps you search a monster, which can help you in turn get more monsters for the Dracotail fusions, which matters a lot. And then Forced of the Release is just being able to set and being able as an interruption piece on your opponent's turn is nice. And it makes it where Urgula can pop this card on your turn, so you can search or during the fusion summon. So you can search a monster, then pop this to set the quick play, which is pretty nice. as well. But again, I don't think it's necessarily the greatest in the world. In the future, I probably wouldn't play Canine Dracotail together, but in this tournament, it did end up working out. But in the future, I probably wouldn't have done it, but it still worked out in this tournament. So that is it for the Canine stuff. Now for the non-engine. So I was not on that much non-engine. I was just on Ash, Ghost Bell, Fua, and then one talent, one called by. Again, now that I've played more and more of this format, I'm quickly realizing that hand traps don't do anything in this format. I honestly don't think hand traps are good enough in this format. Like, a lot of the time I sided out of Ash once I knew I was going second, just because Ash is terrible. To be honest with you, Fua doesn't really do as much as you think you want to do it. Just because a lot of decks have it, like Yummy will give you one draw and then just synchro summon during your opponent's turn. You know, if you verse Canine, they'll just give you a draw and then just kind of play during your opponent's turn as well. Same thing with Dracotail. Like, all the new decks have ways to play around Fua, and Malice still has good lines into it as well. So I honestly don't think it's that good. Ghost Bell was very insane, though. I really do like Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell was probably the MVP hand trap of the deck. It came up in every matchup. This is the one hand trap where I'm like, actually, this does get the value, so I would play Ghost Bell, but I wouldn't play Ash or Fua maybe in the future. But Ghost Bell was really good. But the one problem with the Dracotail stuff is your non-engine probably has to be monsters, because you need just monsters to fusion summon with like Rahu and just any way to fusion summon, because all the Dracotail fusions require a monster in hand. So you probably want your non-engine to be monsters just to be safe, just to make sure you can always fusion summon. But the problem is the hand traps aren't the greatest in the world. I prefer board breakers in this format. Again, more testing. I will try to figure that out in the future. This ended up working for this tournament. But in the future, I would probably say that hand traps isn't the greatest. But I think in this deck, you do have to play it just because you do need the monsters to fusion summon for the Dracotail fusion monsters. And then called by talents, this is just your... I think every deck has to play this. There's so much interaction in this format, so they're always live no matter what. So this is really good. Maybe you can side out called by going second, but even then, there's certain matchups where you honestly called by isn't the worst thing in the world. So, but yeah, I think these are mandatories in every deck. You do have to play called by and talent. So that's it for the non-engine. Again, it might not seem that much non-engine, but again, you also have to think that Femina can play on your turn or on your opponent's turn. These guys are just board breakers, so you know they're just more non-engine by technicality. That's just in-engine board breakers. And then Azuna can also play during your opponent's turn. So even though we're not on that many non-engine, it looks like, by technicality, there's so many ways to interact in the deck that you don't really have to worry about only playing very few non-engine.
You know what was the main deck total?
Main deck total was 40, what I did. Now on to the extra deck. So even though it's a fusion deck, I'm actually not on that many fusions. I'm on 2 Dracotail Atherlion, 2 of the Grammel, and then 1 Mysteroon as well. I would be playing Secretron if I had it for the tournament. I now do have it, so it is going in the extra deck for sure, but I didn't have it for the tournament. So, but again, this was a perfectly fine enough ratio. I actually didn't really need any other fusion. If I would, maybe one more Atheron or Athelion, but that's it. Everything else was perfectly fine for this. So even though it's not that many fusions, honestly, I didn't really need more fusions than this. Maybe throw one more Athelion and a Secretron, and you're perfectly chilling. And that's really it for the fusion summon there. But this is really good because this is a bounce back, which is really, really good. This is your interruption piece. This can pop a card anytime you chain it to activate a Dracotail monster, which is really nice. They can revive themselves from the graveyard, which is good. And then this is good for exactly Yummy, to be honest with you. Whenever they summon like off the synchro or off the link monster, you can just chain, target that monster that they special summon, banish that monster, then all monsters with the same type as well. So it's good in theory, but like I did it against Malice, which was not bad as well. So I don't know, it comes up, so I am playing it. Now on to the links I'm playing. So I'm on 1 Spirit to turn our Lucas into Seals, basically. So that's the only reason why you're playing this, is to turn Lucas into Seals. That's all you really need it for. Seals is insane, and not only is it a bounce, but also is a fusion summon in this deck, because you summon out Bolu, which is a dragon, and that just lets you fusion summon during your opponent's turn, which is really good. 2 interesting ones I was on as well was Dark and Azza. I was on both of them. So in testing, like Azza came up all the time for testing, but Dark also low-key comes up all the time as well, because Azza can only take Azuna or Lupus if you verse like the Canine matchup. So Dark is a lot better because you can take Jokul. Jokul can then add a Canine monster, and then you can start playing with Canine monsters on your turn. Again, these are probably more specifically if you're playing the canine version of Dracotail that you would play these. If you're playing any other version, you probably wouldn't play these, but these I did play, and I also made an Ozza and crashed in a matchup just to make sure I could play with my canine cards, which was pretty nice. Yeah. One SP because it's SP. It's just a generic card in this deck. Being able to hit the Yummy field spell is pretty nice, but just being able to clear fields is what it's really there for. And that is it for our Link monsters. Now for the XYZs, I was on 2 Ripper, 1 Sky Blaster, 1 Werewolf, and then 1 Sky Crisis. So honestly, I don't think you need to play 2 of this. You probably just play a third rank 5 that does something on your opponent's turn. I wasn't playing the Nash Knight stuff because that took up a lot of extra deck slots. That is an idea you could do if you want to cut down on the Link monsters. That is something you could do, but I just didn't do that because I preferred having the Link monsters in the extra deck. So I played 2 Ripper. The 2 never really came up, so I would just cut it for another rank 5 if you do play it. Sky Blaster is just a nice Book of Moon, and if it's sent to the graveyard, targets a face-down card to destroy it, which is good. Werewolf is for the quick play spell. Not only does the quick play spell pop a card, but then this can also rip a card out of your opponent's hand, or if you do it during your turn, you can also banish a monster and a card on their graveyard as well. And then Sky Crisis, I only played this because if you do the Canine during your opponent's turn, you can go Lupus Effect, overlay Sky Crisis on top of it, and if they don't interrupt your field, you have a Sky Crisis Azuna. On your turn, can bounce back a card with Sky Crisis, then link into like a Dark or an Ozza or an SP, which was really nice. So you got to play a lot during your turn before committing to the cards in your hand. And then besides that, it never really came up going like trying to break a field. I only used it really just to go Lupus in a rack kind of thing. But that is it for the extra deck. Now on to the side deck. I was playing 3 Molcharmy Pirellia. I don't think it's as necessary. I think every deck pretty much has a way to play around this now. So I don't think you play this card anymore, to be honest with you. 3 Artifact Lancia. This is Malice. Malice is still in the format. Sorry, you do have to play this card. Like Orcus is also in the format. Lunalight still like scary. So I think Lancia is like, you have to play this in your side deck still, even though there are new decks in the format. 3 Nibiru the Primal Being. This is a little interesting. The reason why I decided to side it is because I was scared of Canine. So game 1, if I versed like a Canine matchup, I knew this was going to be worthless, so I didn't want to main deck this. But there are matchups like Malice. This is insane against. Against Yummy, it's really good against Yummy as well. If it's like pure Dracotail as well, it technically could come up for Nib. I wouldn't put that in that matchup. But like Yummy, Malice, and then any like White Force or Memento, this is like good against, right? So I decided to keep this in the side deck, and you know I versed Yummy a lot of Yummy matchups today, so it did come in all the time, and it did win me a game as well because I just hard drew Yummy, and they're base locked, so they couldn't make a Herald of the Arclight because they have Obedience School. So I just waited for them to go combo, then Nibiru them at the end of main phase, and that pretty much ended their turn there. And then more Yummy hate, Pankratops as well. Again, this is more specifically for Yummy, but in theory, you can put this in against any matchup. But in practice, it's usually just Yummy, and that's pretty much it. But it's still a good card. I really do like this card. I'm glad this card is back. And then for weird side deck thing, I'm on 2 Regeki and 1 Dark Hole. So this was initially evenly matched, but again, I was more scared of the Canine matchup. So I decided to not play evenly into that because Canine can just go into Ripper, rip a card out of your hand. Now they have full hand knowledge, and it's Canine, so they can just still play because they probably have like Azuna and stuff in their hand. So I decided against evenly matched, and I decided to play Regeki. It should be 3 Regekis. I just couldn't find a third Regeki, so I put the Dark Hole instead, which pretty much does the same thing. But the reason why you play this is because if you verse that Canine matchup, you're not versing against Omni Negates or anything like that. So you can just go activate Regeki, and that will clear their field because they have really no protection against Regeki. If they decide to chain the quick play, that's perfectly fine with you. That the XYZ summon is just going to get popped off of Regeki anyways. So that's why that's what's in there, because there's not that many Omni Negates in that matchup. So you want to Regeki the Vanquish Soul Canine, and the field is going to get eliminated. You still have to deal with probably Holy Sue and Azuna in your hand, but it makes it a lot easier to push through their field with these cards. So that's why I decided to play this. Again, in theory, anything that doesn't set up an Omni Negate will die to these cards. So like Dracotail dies to this card. Like something like Mitsurugi can technically die to this as well because they're not ending on Omni Negates either. So that was the side deck. Again, the only thing I really didn't like was Pirellia, and that was it because, again, I quickly figured out that I don't think Hand Traps is good enough, but Nibiru is good. I love Nibiru. Nibiru, it's one of my favorite cards. I do love Nibiru. I think that's like the only hand trap that's worth it if you're not versing against K9 stuff. But yeah, that is it. Again, this is like day 2 of the format. There's things I do want to change about it, but it ended up doing really well with it, so I can't really complain about it. Again, in the future, I probably won't play K9 Dracotail. I don't think that's necessarily a thing. I do want to try other versions like Branded and stuff like that, and probably K9 you can play on like Crystron and Vanquish Soul as well. I think those are better in those decks compared to what in Dracotail. But again, it worked out in Dracotail. I really do love Dracotail. I think the Dracotail is what carried me in this tournament. Really do love the deck. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more content on the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.